Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
A weekly podcast and YouTube channel where we discuss all things Wrexham AFC from the point of view of long-term fans and new fans.
So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in. Hello and welcome to episode 135 of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC. Crazy week this week. Welcome to the Wrexham Rollercoaster. We've had euphoric last minute goals. We've lost our home record of undefeated home record. We've had players being dropped. We've signed an ex-Premier League player. Up and down all week, isn't it? Way. Yeah, I know it has been a bit. It's been a bit much this week, but so we'll have a little talk about the Stevenage game that happened on Tuesday.
The little said about that, the better, I think.
Yeah, well, there's probably quite a bit to be said. When I've sort of found out as we've done the podcast. When you want to talk the least about something,
You talk the most.
It probably means you should be talking the most about it because there's probably quite a bit to be said. We'll talk about the Crawley game as well. I'm going to talk about them new signings that we've had in. And we're going to look ahead to Port Vale, which is the... Don't pull that face. Look, it's still a very valid cup competition. Maybe more valid if we were to get to the semi-finals.
Yeah, we'll see.
And the old Wrexham-Birmingham final is still on, isn't it?
Yes.
Still on at the moment. So are you all right? Are we keeping you up? Are you all right? You all right to carry on?
It's Sunday. I'm always tired on a Sunday. I've had a busy week in work.
Yeah. Just tuck your mic round for you.
I've had a busy week in work, and I'm not sleeping very well at the moment. So get the violins out.
Yes, definitely.
I've got somebody who snores next to me. Who could that be?
Why? Where are you sleeping? Look, we'll get straight into the signings. You have to bear in mind something here. We tried to record a little bit later, just in case anything happened, because we're recording on Sunday morning.
I don't think they'll announce anything on a Sunday anyway.
I don't know, but they might on a Monday or a Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
Is my point. So the transfer window doesn't close until midnight on Monday.
Which I find bizarre.
We are recording on Sunday, so something else might have happened in between us recording and this actually coming out. If that is the case, we haven't forgot about it. We just haven't been able to talk about it.
So the signings that we've had are correct at time of recording.
Correct. Yeah.
So the first one, we've got Sam Smith. No, not the singer Sam Smith.
Money on my mind. Not that one. No.
No. Although I've seen a lot of memes going around.
Fair play to whoever's putting these together. But
yeah, my dad sent me one. Not sure he did it.
No, I don't. Yeah, there's a few. The singer Sam Smith in a Wrexham kit when he wore that mental thing at the Brits, that black thing.
2 Wrexham badges on there.
2 Wrexham badges on that. I've seen him playing in a game wearing that. It's fair play. But yeah, it's all good fun. But
so
not that Sam Smith.
No. So the first signing that we had announced was obviously Sam Smith. He was signed from Reading on an undisclosed fee, but rumour has it was for about £2 million. But we'll just go for undisclosed. Somebody actually commented when I said undisclosed on the post. It made him laugh.
Why?
I think probably because everyone's been saying it's 2 million. So
yeah, but I've said this before. I'm sick of undisclosed because I think fans want to know that the money they're pumping into the club through tickets and all the stuff that we spend is being spent sensibly. I'm not talking about Wrexham, I'm talking about every football fan wants to know that the money they're spending on season tickets or tickets every week and kits and whatever it might be is just being spent sensibly. It's not all our money, you've got investors and owners and all that sort of stuff, but I think it would be nice to know. The original report was it was 500,000 and then they said no. And then the next thing I know, we're signing him, and it's £2 million. That seems a very big jump.
I was actually quite surprised about that because aren't Reading going through a few financial? Hasn't their owner Di Roberts? Is it Di Young? I bet all the fans want him to.
Yeah.
Has gone a bit AWOL. But apparently he's paid all his fines now.
Oh, it's such a mess.
It's
honestly.
But anyway, they've got the EFL have given them a transfer embargo, so they can't. They can sell players, but they cannot buy or send players out on loan. Is that right? I know they can't sell them. Or bring them in. They can't buy them.
They can sell them, obviously, because we've bought one.
They
can't. But the surprising thing, obviously, here is that they've sold their top goal scorer, but they can't buy anyone in to replace him because they're under a transfer embargo. So when I first heard this rumour, I was like, that's never going to happen because how are they going to do that? But yeah, fans have just had enough at Reading. They've had up to here. They had protests on the pitch. I think it was last season. Don't think they've done it this season. They're just fuming. They're absolutely fuming. I don't blame them. Their owner is pretty much running them into the ground at the moment.
Which Wrexham only know too well, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And it feels a bit bad, doesn't it? Sort of going, oh, yeah, I know you're going through this, but could we just take your top goal scorer from you?
Do you think he'll play when we play Reading? Oh, I had the hiccup then. What do you think he'll play when we play Reading?
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Anyway, so he's 26 years old, which is unusual for Wrexham. But anyway, he's 26 years old.
Not recently. I think we've very much sort of changed our sort of transfer style.
Yeah, but then let's wait until we get on to the next.
Yeah, okay. All right.
He is apparently 6'1". I don't believe anything that I read anymore about these players because Elliot Lee's apparently 6'7".
No. I don't, but I'm not sure he's 6'1". But that officially he is 6'1".
Yeah,
so we'll see.
And he is the fourth top scorer in League One currently on 11 goals. I'm assuming that is still correct because he didn't score for us.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he played with as well. So he's at Man United youth. So he played with like Marcus Rashford. And that sort of crop of players as well. Marcus Rashford's gone to Villa this morning as well, on loan. So, like I said, I was surprised about the Sam Smith transfer. I didn't think it would happen. But then once it had happened and I sort of thought about it a bit more, I thought, I'm not sure Di Young really cares, to be honest. It's another £2 million or however much in his back pocket.
The taxman's pocket.
I doubt the club are going to see any of that money. I do feel a bit sorry for him. Look, on the face of it...
Not Di Young, let's just be clear. We don't feel sorry for Di Young.
No.
We feel sorry for Reading fans.
I think, on the face of it, it looks a good transfer. He obviously played on Saturday, which we'll talk about a bit later. It's one of them. It's time will tell. On the face of it, it looks like a good signing. He can score goals in League One. If we were to go up, could he make the step up to the Championship? Impossible to tell. Let's be honest.
I don't know anybody that could. Yeah.
No, I did see a few Reading players saying, very good League One player. I doubt he'd be able to make the step up to the Championship if they were to go up. It's an impossible thing to say, really. I very much think we had players playing for us in League Two that we thought would easily make the step up to League One, and perhaps that hasn't happened. Naming no names, but it's impossible to say. So I decent, I think.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. I think it's going to come down to the service. The issue over the last few months that's been brought up by a lot of fans has been service into the strikers. Maybe hasn't been good enough. If that were to continue, I don't think he's going to do very well because you could put anyone up there and if they're not getting the service, then, but as long as we get the ball into him, he knows how to score goals in League One. So fingers crossed. I think it'll be a good signing, but we will see.
So the second signing that was announced at 5:00 on Friday.
Yeah.
Yes. On Friday was what's his name? J. Enrique Iglesias Rodrigo. No, I'm joking. It's J. Enrique Rodriguez.
Yeah.
But he's from Burnley.
He's from Burnley.
So funny. So funny. He's got such an exotic name, and then when he talks, he's like, from Burnley.
Yeah.
Anyway, so for Ryan, this one came out the blue. Me, not so much. Because I've read quite a bit saying that they have put in an offer for Jay Rodriguez.
Oh, I read that. It was at the point when I heard, oh, we're going for Jay Rodriguez. I was like,
okay.
What? And where has this come from? Because that fell out of the blue. Look, like Siân said, he came from Burnley. He's 35. Yes, I'm more...
Doesn't look it, so, you know.
He does. I don't think he does. And I've watched him recently. I watched a couple of Burnley games. And he still looks lively. Look, he's only scored...
lively.
He's only scored, I think... There's two ways to look at this stat that I'm going to give you now. He's only scored 25 goals in the last 5 seasons. Okay? And then you sort of go, oh, okay, whatever. But then you can crop that stat down a little bit more. He scored 25 goals in 55 starts. You know, when he's actually starting a game. All the other appearances that he's made over them 5 seasons have been maybe 5 minutes at the end of a game, 10 minutes at the end of a game, but then that's logged as an appearance. And that's, I think 25 goals over 5 seasons sounds awful. But I think when you narrow it down to 25 goals in 55 starts, he's sort of, every time he starts, he's scoring 1 in 2. You know, I think that's a fairer way to sort of judge him, if I'm perfectly honest. He is also 6'1", apparently. He wasn't getting much game time at Burnley, hence why he's looked elsewhere, and you know he's obviously been interested in this offer. Lots of appearances off the bench, that sort of thing. I said to you, didn't I? I imagine this would have been quite difficult for him.
Bittersweet.
A little bit, because he knows by leaving Burnley, he's in the twilight of his career. He knows he's going to get some more game time than he's currently getting. But he's a Burnley lad, you know. So and I sort of said to you, imagine being born in Wrexham, growing up in Wrexham, and then being able to play for Wrexham, and then you get towards the end of your career and you have to leave Wrexham to go and play football somewhere else. You'd feel...
What, like John Davis?
Yeah, but... yeah.
I know he's only out on loan, but still.
But, you know, it must be... Yeah. It must be tough, that. Yeah. And I watched his interview, and he said all the right things because they're all media trained and they know what to say. I couldn't help but feel there was a little bit of sadness in them eyes. Yeah. In them beautiful eyes of his.
And beautiful long locks.
But yeah, look, he's got Premier League experience. He got nominated for, I remember him scoring at Old Trafford, actually. I think that was for Burnley against Man United. And he got nominated for Goal of the Month. He didn't win it. Someone else won it, but we've got a couple We've got a couple of players now in the squad who have been nominated for Goal of the Month.
And
do you know what I mean?
As well.
In the Premier League, that is what I mean.
Oh.
I'm not talking about League One. I'm talking about in the Premier League.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's huge amount of experience. I was a little bit excited when they announced it because it's.
He's like an Adonis, isn't he?
I was talking to my dad, right, when not long after Rob and Ryan took over, and we had all these like hopes and dreams of what would happen.
Yeah.
And then I said to my dad, I wonder how long it's going to be until we don't have to Google the signings that we're making. That you just go, I know him.
Not
I know,
so
I've watched, maybe not, but I know him, I know where he's from. And to now look at a squad, we're almost 4 years down the line since Rob and Ryan took over. And we've got Jay Rodriguez, we've got Stephen Fletcher, we've got James McLean. And it's like, it's just, you have to pinch yourself sometimes when players like this come in. Look, is he going to get us loads of goals? I don't think so. But is he going to be a menace and a pain for rival defence? Yeah,
so Stephen Fletcher 2.0, isn't he?
Sort of, yeah, a little bit.
They've got the same hairstyle. They've both got beards.
I think it's a good signing.
Yeah,
and I think it's going to do us some good to have in there. And it certainly shakes things up in, especially in the strikers club that we've got.
Yeah, overrun strikers.
It certainly shakes things up a little bit there, and especially as Parky put him straight into the team as well.
And Sam Smith.
Yes.
So going on to, so obviously, as we said at the beginning, this is obviously signings are correct as of time of recording.
Well, not just signings and departures.
Yes,
I suppose.
which I'm going to say next, obviously. So sadly, we had 2 new players coming in, but that always means that 1 or 2 players are potentially going to go out. And that was announced again on Friday. So James Jones has left and on a permanent transfer over to Burton Albion. So not only have they got Bud Varson from us, but they've also got James Jones. Absolutely gutted about this guy leaving, because I know he's only played 45 minutes this season, but I do like James Jones, and I think he's such a lovely family man, and I just think, it's such a shame. It's like when Luke Young left. I'm not as devastated as I was when Luke Young left.
No, look, I get what you're saying. I was sad to see him go, but more on a personal level than a footballing level.
Yeah.
I think he's made 3 appearances this season. The most lasted 20-something minutes, and I think one was 9 minutes, one was 7 minutes, whatever it was.
To be fair, though, when he did come on the pitch, though, he did work hard.
Look, he was a real workhorse, and he was sort of like the guy that was playing in Ollie Rathbone's position before Ollie came along, and he's made the right decision, because there are way too many people ahead of him in the pecking order now for him to get any sort of serious game time.
Yeah.
Like, he played 126 games for us, 14 goals, some crucial goals that he scored in them 14, absolutely pivotal in our sort of back-to-back, from in National League and in League Two. So it is sort of like of the sort of Ben Tozer, Luke Young sort of feel to it, hasn't it? Where the players that have pulled you out of the doldrums, as it were, at some point have got to give way and go and find their way somewhere else.
But they're both doing well at their respective clubs, so hopefully that'll kind of continue with James Jones. So we want to wish you all the best, James. Not that you're ever going to see this.
He made his debut on Saturday. Came on as a sub, and he played about 20 minutes.
I think Bud Varson nearly scored as well.
Oh, yeah, well, there we go.
Scoring machine.
So look, it's the only out at the moment at time of recording. Keep saying that, but it's the only one out. I doubt it's going to be the last. No. I think there's going to be more. I'm sort of half expecting 1 in and 1 out, maybe 1 in, 2 out. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Look, if you do want to support the show, you can do so by buying us a coffee, and you do that by visiting buymeacoffee.com/me the wife. Huge thank you to Karen and to Mark this week for supporting the show. We love you.
We do love you. And I'm still yet to meet you.
I've met them.
So at least one of us have.
Yeah, I met them in Bristol.
Yeah. Which I'm gutted about, but I was keeping the seats warm.
Yes, Sam was. Fancy EFL update before we get on to the misery of Tuesday night. So no change-ish. So Ben is still first, Ian's still second, Christian's still third. I was having a little chat with Christian on, I think it was Saturday morning, actually. And Christian's had a disaster, an absolute disaster this week. He forgot to change his team before the deadline. There are lots of double game weeks this week for the championship players. So people have changed their teams to include the championship players that have got 2 games. Christian missed the deadline, so he was stuck with a load of sort of League 1, League 2 players who only had 1 game. The players that he had didn't do very well this week, so he's sort of the top 2 have bridged a gap, and I dare say by the time we record next week, I don't think Christian will be third, because the people sitting in 4th and 5th have pretty much all of their players to play again, and Christian has no one to play again.
It's always time to come back, Christian. Don't you worry.
So he's had a bit of a mare. I'm going to say that. I, on the other hand, just a little update on me, because it is our league.
It's all about you.
So I was languishing around sort of 18th, 19th, 20th at times, sort of in and around there.
Out of 20?
No, there's loads in our league. And I've sort of taken it recently a little bit more seriously. And I thought, right, I'm going to get myself back. I'm back up to 12th. I've overtaken Sky. Sky was in 12th. I sent him a message basically saying I'm coming for you. No, I didn't. I said...
Way to keep all our listeners.
No, I said to him, I basically said, the battle for 12th place that nobody knew that they needed in their life. I was 13th, he was 12th. I've overtaken him now, so he's out the way. Sights are set on the top 10 for me this week.
Okay.
All right.
Let's talk about Stevenage now.
Yeah.
So, you weren't there.
I wasn't. No. I was working. So
I was representing.
Yeah, I work shifts, and this fell badly for me. And what I would normally do is maybe book like a half-day holiday or something like that. But unfortunately, somebody on my shift was already off, so I wasn't able to do that. So I had to miss the game. There's no light show this week, was there?
No, when I was obviously there, Ryan messaged me going, before it started going, was there I won't say exactly what he said. Basically, is there another light show? And I went, no, not as of yet. And then obviously when they kicked off, I was like, no light show today.
No, maybe they should have done a light show. Now I'm sort of doing a 180 on whether they should be doing light shows, because we played quite well when we did a light show, didn't we?
We did.
So there we go. So Dan Castle?
No idea who that is.
I don't know who that is either. Dan Scarr kept his place in the centre of defence. It was an unchanged lineup. Maybe on the face of it, maybe that wasn't the best option.
Massive mistake.
Yeah, so Parky decided to persist with Lee in this stupid false nine position that he plays. And once again, shock horror for the probably the 12th game in a row. It just didn't work, did it? Absolutely didn't work. Stevenage probably should have gone one up early on. There was a long throw that came in. It sort of, they flicked it on. A man, Tommy lost his man, right? And he went to the front post. He was completely unmarked. He flicked it on. And then Tommy was just lost. And then it ended up with a guy right in front of goal, and he just blazed it over. That was huge warning sign. Yeah. That should have been 1-0. And then Dan Kemp opened scoring. Lovely.
No, I wasn't shocked by that.
Lovely Dan Kemp. Loved scoring against us. So something I wanted to talk about, because we talk about Matty James quite a bit, don't we? And there's quite a popular opinion out there amongst Wrexham fans that you can't really fault too much that Matty James does when he's got the ball at his feet. But for some reason, we because he's quite deep lying, he seems to drag everything backwards a little bit, and the team don't seem to play as well when he's on the pitch. Mm-hmm. Stevenage sort of very much focused on him. They've got Dan Kemp, who's quick, mobile, and he sort of plays just off the strikers. And what Stevenage identified was, what we'll do is we'll sit Dan Kemp on Matty James, and then we know Dan Kemp's acceleration, mobility, speed is all better than Matty James's. So all they were doing, they were playing the ball slightly in behind Matty James. Dan Kemp was getting beyond him. Matty James couldn't catch him. No. And that was quite a pattern throughout the game. And that's where the first goal came from. And he was just too quick for him on the break. Every time they broke forward, he was too quick for him. When they were running forward, Tommy didn't know whether to close the runner or go close the man with the ball, or drop back and hit the runner. And in the end, he did neither for that first goal. And he ended up in no man's land. He didn't close the man down. He didn't drop back to take the guy who took the ball. Arthur, it was a poor attempt at a save, really. He should have held on to that. It was quite poor. But yeah, it just fell into Kemp's path, and that was it. That was 1-0. 5 minutes later, another one. Just for good measure, shot from the edge of the box. Arthur, again, poor goalkeeping. He should have held it. I think it was probably easily his worst game in a Wrexham shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It was terrible. Yeah. I don't know what was going on. He just seemed like he was elsewhere. He just wasn't on it. And he kept coming out of his box, and it was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
It was stressful to watch.
There was one thing I saw, and this comes back to communication again.
Yeah.
Where
Sorry, I'm just trying to sort this out because it's irritating me.
Okay, no, it's fine. You crack on with that. Okay. There was an incident not long after. I think it was maybe the second goal where the ball's coming over. Arthur's coming for it, and Dan Scarr doesn't know he's there, and he goes to head it back to Arthur, and Arthur luckily grabs it, drops it, and it's, we're nearly in another calamitous situation. But then that's not talking again. Arthur should be screaming at him, telling him he's coming for that.
Yeah.
And then Dan leaves it alone. Yeah. So yeah, I thought he had poor distribution at times. I think his distribution can be on Tuesday, not just Tuesday, on other occasions. I think his distribution can be quite slow.
Yeah.
Like a quarterback in like American football, but they see the whole pitch in front of them, and they see it, and they can process it quickly, and they know where the ball's going. Arthur doesn't seem able to do that at times. He should be assess, go. But he seems to hold on to it for a long time.
He was very slow.
Yeah,
very slow.
On Tuesday, yeah,
it was
definitely.
Irritating, to be honest, at some point.
But then his actual distribution, sort of playing long balls up to like Lee and stuff like that, and it's like Lee's never going to win that. I'm not going to say Lee never wins a header.
Because he's 6'7".
No, but he obviously did on the weekend. But it's
we'll go on to that.
I think the only other game maybe that Arthur played possibly that badly was maybe the Blackburn game in the FA Cup. He was pretty poor in that one as well. But look, you just, with performances like that, you have to sort of dust yourself off a little bit and go, that won't happen again.
Well, when the half-time whistle went off and all the boys were toddling into the changing room, Wrexham fans, not me because I'm not that childish, but anyway, Wrexham fans were booing the Wrexham players, and the guy who was sitting next to me, Ian, he said to me, he goes, that hasn't been heard for a while. Getting booed off the pitch, and
I've heard it a lot over the years. Them getting booed
I
off,
mean,
but
like,
it hasn't happened for a while. You're not wrong.
Post takeover.
No, it hasn't. It probably once or twice. It happened. Probably Dover, I think they were maybe booed off. I'm not a big fan of booing the players off.
No, because
half time or full time.
No.
I don't.
It gets them into a bad headspace. I think.
But I'm all for letting them know how you're feeling and what you think their performance is like. Which maybe that does come out in a boo. I don't know, but it's never been something I've been a huge fan of. Look. 2-0 down at half-time. Palmer came off. Fletcher came on.
When we were at half-time, we just stayed in our seats. And Mullen was warming up, basically, because obviously they do their little warmy bits up, don't they, during half-time.
Warmy bits.
And 1 minute he was there, and the next minute we saw him running into the tunnel. So we thought, Parky's making a change here.
Yeah.
But we weren't sure who. And then obviously Palmer was already in the changing room. So I'm not sure who came on for. So Fletcher came on for Palmer.
Yeah.
I can't remember who came on for Mullen now.
Who came off?
Matty James.
Yeah.
He came off.
Yeah, that was it.
So,
it was Matty James.
yeah.
So we changed the whole dynamic there a little bit in the midfield, which is what was needed because he got destroyed in the first half.
He did. So that was exciting. So we were like, oh, there's going to be changes, because the guy again who was sitting next to me goes, do you know what? We need to change here. And I said, yeah, but Parky won't do it till like 65 minutes.
He has done it more recently, though, hasn't he?
Proved wrong.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Mullen got one back. It was originally given to Rathbone.
Yeah.
And then everyone was sort of people who had bets on the game who said Mullin was going to score were fuming, but it has now been changed to Mullin's
So
goal.
would they have won their money then?
I don't know. Hey, bookies do what they want. The bookies can literally, we were talking about this in the week actually, some guy who'd won like 50, 60 grand and the bookies just went, nah, not paying that out. Honestly, it's terrible, but anyway.
Don't gamble, kids.
Yeah, did you think the comeback was on? When
Yes.
Mullin scored that, did you think, here we go?
I thought, here we go. Yeah, I thought we had Fletcher on the pitch. I hate to say it, but Matty James had gone off. And I thought, and then they brought Mari on as well. And I thought, oh God, this is just, get all the strikers on the pitch. Maybe just have a team of strikers. But yeah, I thought this, we're gonna do this. We're gonna claw this back. Second half, they had a really bad first half. But we had a really bad first half when we played Birmingham, and then our second half was...
I don't think we didn't have that level of bad half against Birmingham.
I'm not sure we've
anywhere
ever had.
Near.
Yeah, but do you get what I'm saying? They played bad.
But we have the ability to switch it up,
which we started to do, and we could see that the progress was being made. They were still passing the ball back, and rather than going forward, which irritates the hell out of me. I get sometimes why you have to do it, because if you've got other players of the opposing team coming towards you, you need to kind of get rid of the ball quickly so they don't, they don't get the ball off you. But there was just like James McLean was open a number of times, and he was like hands in the air, like I've got no one around me, give me the ball. But that irritated me as well. So I thought we're going to get there. We're going to do this. We're going to claw it back. We're going to win. Even if it was a 2-2 draw. I thought, we're going to do this. But then it just
no.
Then this was going up in the roller coaster, and then it just went really fast downhill.
Well, Jake Young scored. I think it sort of felt like we had about 26 opportunities to clear the ball, but before they scored, and it was such a poor goal to give away. Decent finish. I'm not sure you could blame Arthur too much. I think he got caught on his heels, maybe a touch, and he sort of didn't know which way to go. But yeah, look, they'd only scored 3 goals in all of their away games this season, leading up to Tuesday. They'd only scored 3 goals, so they literally doubled their tally for away goals in one game. In one game, and it's in one game that's at our place, which is supposed to be fortress racecourse, that nobody comes here and wins.
No.
Not even the ones that are running away with the league at the moment. They can't come here and win. Nobody wins here. So for them to come here, double the amount of goals they'd scored away from home in one match, put 3, it felt. It left a real bitter taste. Look, Max got one back. Who cares? Didn't matter. It was a decent header, to be fair to him, though. What was decent.
It was
decent. Elliot Lee almost squeezed one in, and then Mullin shot over right at the end, which, it's typical Wrexham, though, isn't it? For one of them, if one of them would have gone in, I'd have gone, there you go. That's what we always do. We just come alive in the last sort of 10 minutes or so. There was booze at full time, was there, as well?
I don't know. We pretty much... No, I don't think... yeah, probably. I can't... We'd gone.
Yeah.
We didn't go before the final whistle, but as soon as the whistle went, we went. So, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just think, I felt like...
Talking of booze, sorry.
Booze?
Yeah. When we were leaving, Steve, who I work with, he sits behind us. And he was coming down the steps and I was going past him. We just looked at each other and just shook our heads.
Yeah.
And then when I went into work the next day, I was like, well, that was a show, wasn't it? So, yeah, it was...
Poor
Yeah.
all round. Like I say, I felt like Stevenage just sort of created a little bit of a blueprint of, Cambridge created a little bit of a blueprint. Get at us, push us, press us high, and all that. And, that's very much a blueprint of how to play against us, and we didn't know how to handle it, and we were just knocking it long. I felt like Stevenage very much added to that blueprint of sort of going, if Matty James is playing, put a very creative, agile midfielder just off him,
against the old codger.
And they won't be able to deal with it, and we couldn't.
No.
You know, so fair play to all the
They did
tactical
their
analysis.
research.
They
They
did.
did.
It's the first defeat.
Us not so much, obviously.
Maybe not. The first defeat since at home since March 2024.
That's mental.
Almost a year. So we have been spoilt a little.
A little bit.
So you know, it was probably
We
coming.
haven't been spoiled in regards to loads of goals, because probably in that time we've probably scored about 10 goals.
No, we've had some decent victories.
I'm
you know, we
joking.
beat Shrewsbury 3-0, Reading 3-0, Northampton 4-1.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
yeah. So back in your box. We've seen plenty of goals
Yeah,
in that time, thank you.
So when Parky did his interview, you could clearly tell that he was annoyed, fuming.
He was
fuming.
not happy.
He basically said that they need to get back to basics, which I've heard him say quite a few times. If the players have played badly, they need to get, they need to get back to basics. But yeah, he was not a happy manager, and I dread to think what. I reckon the air was completely blue in that dressing room at half time, because they did come back on and they played a little bit better, but yeah, not good enough.
It was, he used the word desire a lot, a couple of times, and it's the lack of, basically.
Desire, yeah.
And it very much felt like that. Gez said, absolutely shocking, lack of heart, lack of fight. Lee isn't the answer up front, whatever the question was.
Top Cat, it was a lack of effort shown in what?
It was the lack of effort shown.
You cut off half of that comment.
I haven't cut that off. He didn't type anything else.
Okay, it was the lack of effort shown. There you
Sarah
go.
said dreadful. JB asleep for the first 45 minutes.
What, you or the players?
Both.
Daz Barker, confused more than anything. How did we manage to be so genuinely poor?
Owen Roberts, poor. Matty James was poor. Lee Palmer just didn't work again. Need two strikers playing, maybe Fletcher and Rathbone/Dobson. Lee or Cannon midfield.
Brad, Palmer is reason we lost. Lazy, doesn't run, doesn't jump for a header, first touch of a trampoline, and is slower than my gran. He's not good enough, and his lack of effort caused the defence to be under constant pressure. Don't know what people see in him. Too busy with his clothing brand. I have to agree with you, Brad, I'm afraid.
There's quite a few people opposed that online. If I'm honest, they were like, no, he works hard. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. Yeah, all right, maybe he does work hard, but he doesn't. I just don't think he creates anything. I'm going to shut up now because I'll probably get people coming for me.
No,
and I'll have to go in hibernation.
You're entitled to your opinion, and I think the problem that we have with Palmer is sometimes he works hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he does the donkey work. He frustrates defenders and he does all of that stuff. And then other games, he just looks completely uninterested. Mm-hmm. Completely uninterested.
Would rather be somewhere else.
Barnsley was one. Mm-hmm. It was like, what are you doing?
Yep.
He looked so disinterested in that game, and Parky took him off at half time. Tuesday night was another one. He just looked so uninterested in being there and working hard. He didn't want to do it, and he got taken. Took him off at half time. But there are other times that he really puts a shift in. I feel it's his lack of goals that's the problem. We played on Tuesday night with one striker, and that striker hasn't scored since November. That's a problem.
Should have started with Fletcher.
I don't know what, well, I do know what the answer is because, obviously we bought Jay Rodriguez and Sam Smith. But Tuesday roundup, Birmingham beat Huddersfield 1-0 with not to praise other teams, but with an absolute worldie of a goal right in the top corner. Wickham got a 95th minute winner against Barnsley. That was annoying. Stockport beat Shrewsbury 1-0. Tuesday left us 6 points adrift of Wickham in the automatic promotion race. Yeah. Look, Crawley. Lots of changes for Crawley. Lots of changes. That was very much Parky going, right, I'll show you how annoyed I am at Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Arthur, get on the bench. Mm-hmm. So he dropped Arthur. Mark came in. Scar went out, O'Connell came in, Tommy out, Brunt in.
Glad Brunt's back, though.
So I am as well, because Tommy keeps getting exposed playing in defence. He really is. And Tuesday was one of them. He didn't know whether to come or stay, and he got caught in no man's land on numerous occasions on Tuesday night. So happy Brunt's back. Palmer and Lee were out.
Lee was on the bench, wasn't he?
Yeah, Rodriguez and Smith started, which was very exciting. So, little story about Palmer. I don't know if you know this story or not. So
I do, because you told me.
Okay. The rumour is that Palmer, during the week, refused to train. So that is all I know. He refused to train. Palmer.
Are you sure he didn't refuse to get a train?
No, he refused to go to training, which is why he got dropped on the weekend. That is the story that we've heard. For a lot of people might not know, Palmer, Ollie doesn't actually live in Wrexham. He lives in London, and he commutes not every day. I think he only spends 3 out of 7 days here. So we've been very good with Ollie, I think, and he trains minimally, and I think it's coming back to bite us a little bit. This is now possibly as such, but yeah. So that was the rumor that he had refused to train. Mullin was out as well, because he was having a shin scan apparently. So we'll wait and see what.
It made me laugh though, because we'd read that, hadn't we? Because obviously, when Wrexham put out on their Twitter the lineup for the game, it said Mullin is out due to having a shin scan or whatever it said, and you went, shin scan? He just walked past the camera.
Yeah, I was like, because the way they said it was, he's not here because he's having a scan. And I was like, okay. And then we were there going, well, he's there. I can see him. And it's like, but they went later on, they basically said he's having one this week.
Yes.
That's
But read what you will into that, because a lot of people have been going, if Mullin leaves, I can see Mullin going. I can't see Mullin going.
No, me.
So, Palmer, yes. Mullin, no.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah. Maybe by this episode comes out, something's already happened. We're just talking and people are going, oh,
shut up.
If you only knew. Look, perfect start. Yes. We looked full of energy. 67 seconds in, Matty James took it away. I'd spent every day since Tuesday explaining to people why Matty James shouldn't be in the starting lineup. When I heard that Parky'd made loads of changes, I thought Matty's got to be out. And I didn't even
put him in my lineup.
No, and I was like, definitely not. And then he pops up and scores after 67 seconds. First goal for the club.
If that isn't somebody going in your face, people, I don't know what.
Maybe I told the wrong person. He was going, he's saying what? But yeah, Jay Rodriguez nearly scored just after. Lovely move. Sam Smith got it. He spread it out, and then it was like a first-time pass into Jay Rodriguez. I thought he was offside initially. He wasn't. Yeah. Keeper got down really well and saved that one. We just looked really up for it in the first 15 minutes. And then, like one of them effervescent paracetamol things that you put in a drink, it just dissipated and fizzled out into nothing. 18th minute, we were also almost crashing back to earth after a good start. I can't remember the name of the guy, but he had a free header from about 4 yards out and he put it wide. We thought Smith was going to get his first goal, about half an hour in. He went through. Defender just leaned on him a little bit, put him off, and unfortunately for him, nothing came of that. Keeper saved it well. But we just felt a lot more direct, I think, early on. Not
so much backward ball.
Not so much backward ball.
Good forward progress.
Yeah, quick passing.
Yes.
Better counter-attacks.
Yes.
I thought Howard was a little hesitant at times.
Didn't really have much to do, did he, though, apart from that goal?
He didn't have loads, but it was... when the ball was there for him to go and claim it, I just felt like he sort of held back a little bit at times. I've always said that has been one of Mark's flaws since he came in.
There was a little incident, I think, when I don't think it was. I think it was completely wide anyway. I don't even think it was going towards the goal, but he did like this little skip. on the spot because he thought he kind of was going to do something. We went, I don't need to do anything. So he did like a little skip on there. I thought it was funny.
I didn't spot
No,
that.
I'll have to show you.
1-0 at half time. I genuinely thought Crawley were decent coming forward, but I think it probably reflected their league position that they didn't really seem like their build-up was great, but they couldn't really seem to find that final pass. Or when they did find that final pass, they couldn't really seem to finish it off. And I think that sort of, you got a good indication of why they're where they are in the league.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a massive gap between players in League One, between teams in League One. It's just little things like just being able to finish or that final killer pass and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Look, it was as the second half went on. I'm not going to drag on too much because not a lot happened in the second half really. It was the first 15 minutes was definitely less frantic. But then they just started building and it just sort of felt like we were hanging on by the end, and it just stunk of Bristol Rovers away, didn't it? We were watching it and we were all over them. We score early. We could have built on it. We could have scored more. We could have put the game to bed. And we just gradually go, what are we going to do? We're going to back off. We're going to back off. We're just going to sit here and let you attack us.
Yep.
Look, that might be an overconfidence in how well our defence has been playing. Not so much on Tuesday, but, how they've played over the season. I don't know what it is, but we have this inability to... We knock teams down, but
early on,
but then we go for a little walk and let them get back up and get their breath back and then come back at us instead of just mauling them while they're down. That's what we should be doing, though. Do you get, Rodriguez lasted, I think, 69, 70 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
Fletcher came on. A decent debut.
I don't think we saw enough of him to make that
Not really
informed decision. But I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, not really." I've seen underwhelmed is the word I.
I think that's one of the comments we've got coming up. Maybe they say something like that as well, but
might be the same one.
It might be, and it was, it's hard to judge.
It's difficult to judge somebody on their foot. Yes, he's been a Premiership. He's been in the Premier League, and he's he's capped for. He's got a cap for England, I believe.
Only one, but yeah.
But yeah, he's still got a cap. So it's. I know that everybody automatically assumes, right? He's got these things on his CV.
Yeah.
He's going to be scoring goals left, right, and centre. But I think what people forget is he's coming into an environment where the whole team have kind of gelled over time and stuff like that. And it is going to take him a little bit of time. And it's unusual for Parky to throw them in straight away. He likes to hone skills and he likes to, what's the word? Flourish them or what? I don't know. That's not the word.
Flourish them.
That's not the word. But do you know what I mean? He likes to.
It is unusual. You're not wrong.
So I think that obviously shows that Parky's desperation.
I don't know
if it's desperation, but do you know what I mean? It's
I think it was him stamping his foot.
Yeah.
And going, I'm in charge here. You're not going to put the effort in. Go and sit over there then.
Yeah, sit in the corner with the dunce hat on.
I think it was really awkward. Sam and Barney came off for Marriott and Longman about sort of 10 minutes after that.
Yeah.
And I think it's so hard to judge Sam and Jay on their debuts because they're coming into a new team, they haven't really. It's only 24 hours before that they came in. Football's football, but you have to learn I know what he's going to do when he does that because I've seen it 10, 50, 100 times before.
Yeah.
I know what he's going to do. I can anticipate that. You've got none of that. And then also you've got a strike partnership who are playing for Wrexham, who've come from Burnley and Reading. So it's really difficult to gel and know what each other are going to do. But yeah, it was. I
think it's a time will tell situation.
I
think it's difficult to judge somebody on their first performance.
It is because we talked. Longman came in and we saw a little bit of him. the week before, and I on Tuesday, sorry, and I asked you what he was like, and you said, because you only really got to see him for 10, 15
and he was
minutes.
he was on the opposite end of the pitch,
and it was sort of like, I don't really know.
It was difficult.
And I said you've got to give them time.
Yeah.
I felt like Saturday was maybe a bit of a better chance to see him. Maybe not so much, but I'll talk a bit more about him in a minute. We were just hanging on at the end. It was fingernails on window ledge time, wasn't it? Right at the end. They had a penalty shout. I was really unsure about it. I haven't seen an angle to say it was or it wasn't. I think it either is or the ref should have booked the lad for diving. I don't know, how you can't do one without the other. So that was lucky, because at first I thought he'd given it, the ref, because he had his arms out and I was like, what's he doing? And he was just saying, no penalty. I was like, okay, all right then. And then that Ibrahim scored probably the goal of his career. He just absolutely lashed it. As soon as he hit it, with the angle and trajectory of it, I rolled my head back and I was like, it's in that. I could just tell. Could not blame Mark at all. It was right in the top corner. He has had a long time to see it come in. I don't think many people are stopping that. It was an absolute... I was just looking at it going... And it was like the 89th minute, 90th minute, something like that. And I was like, that's the sort of goal I like. But just not against
the team,
us.
yeah.
It was like a goal like that to rescue a point for him. And he's sitting there and I'm like, that is dream scenario for me. For if that was to happen to Wrexham, the 30-yard screamer. But it was coming, wasn't it? It was coming, I think. And I started to think if they'd have got that 5 minutes earlier, I sort of felt like they would go on and win it, if I'm honest. But I think I was sitting there thinking at the time, I think the thing that saved us here is we've only got a couple of minutes left to sort of hold on.
Do whatever.
Yeah. So back to Longman. He got the ball out on the right and he played a beautiful cross. Fletcher came in at the back post and just put it over. And I was like, that's a good cross, that is. And then again, out to Longman. Amazing cross in. Lee, free in the middle. Last seconds of the game. And that was it. 2-1. Euphoria. Everyone's really happy. Snatched it at the death again. Brilliant. But we didn't deserve it. Let's not lie about it. We did not deserve the 3 points there. But we got them. We'll put them in our pocket and we'll go home.
And we'll move.
Yes. The thing I think probably worth talking about, which a lot of Crawley fans are quite annoyed at. I'd already mentioned it to you, hadn't I? And I was like, I was looking at the goal and I was going, why was Lee so unmarked in the middle? And he very much manhandled the defender, didn't he, to the ground? Because when you watch the replay then, it was like the ball comes up, Lee's free, and you look and you go, is that his marker sitting on the floor? And then
legs in the air.
Yeah, legs in the air. And then you watch it back. But I think it's one of them where you sort of go, if you're getting manhandled to the floor by Elliot Lee,
you deserve to be on the floor.
maybe just a bit more strength about you to keep on your
Well,
feet.
I don't know. He seems like a bit of a stocky lad, Elliot Lee. Just because he's small.
You can't. Every time there's a corner, you can't have both players pushing and pulling and all this and bear hugging each other. And then something like that happens and go, it's a foul, that, isn't it? Because it's in the box. It happens literally every 3 minutes in a game and nothing is given. So just because it's won us the game, just stop crying and get on with it. Because, you can't have it always. You can't sit there and have defenders doing this round the middles of like the chest of players and then moan about something like that and then go, no, that's fine because it's from a corner. What? No. Shut up. Let's get on with it. It's a goal. We've won. We probably stole it a little bit, but
who cares?
Get on with your life.
Yeah, still third.
Nick Demos said, gave up too much possession, sat back defensively for too long. Very correct. Eric, I tried to read it all in once, then it just went there. Eric, I think Elliot needed a rest. Also, he needs to stay in midfield. Playing him up top was nonsense. Agree, Eric.
Rick O'Brien, lots of new faces, and I think all the players need time to adjust to each other and also keep within Parky's game plan. Yeah, that's what we were saying before. I like the new skill set up front. Hopefully Super Paul is healthy and makes a big impact going forward. Management is serious about going for promotion. Exciting! Exclamation mark.
Ryan, not me, but why do we always sit back when we take the lead? Just invite them to attack. Yes.
Callum Williams, poor performance covered up by the last minute winner. We could easily attack and get more goals, but decide to sit back and we're just asking to concede.
Do you get the feeling that people are quite annoyed that we're just sitting back?
Yes. Yes. Here we go. This is the message.
I've got Inshallah Miami. I'm sorry if that's wrong. New strikers were underwhelming, but perhaps with time.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so as well.
Wrexham FC Boston, love Smith and J-Rod. I love that. Creating chances already. Smith is going to be a great threat and is money on the ball, I'm assuming. He's just putting a symbol. Too much standing around on the defence and looking at each other's when trying to not lose 1-0 when they went for the win. You saw what happened. Stay aggressive, boys. Thank you, 38.
Ken said, if we go with Dobson and James, I almost prefer a 4-4-2 with a double pivot. Dobson tends to pull back from the attacking third. Prefer just one of them or George Evans with Rathbone and Elliot Lee in front of them. Q question from Siân. Go.
What?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me what a double pivot was.
What's when they're on the 1 foot and they pivot?
No.
Doubly.
No, that might be it in ballet. That is nothing to do with what it is in football. So a pivot in football is a defensive midfielder. So he sits just in front of the back four.
Pivot!
Doing ballet.
Pivot!
No, he sits just in front of the back four or defensive line, and he directs the sort of play from there. A double pivot is when you've got two defensive midfield players in there sitting just in front of the midfield. I think you've gone 4-4-2 then. I think you're probably looking... for me personally, Ken, I think a double pivot works best when you only have one striker. I think it works best as a 4-2-3-1, usually, because you get a little bit of width. You've got your... you get your sort of defensive midfield in there. You've got three attacking midfielders and you've got one striker. I'm not sure how I feel about only playing one striker anymore. So
two strikers.
Just my pennies worth.
If you want to get in touch, you can do so by going by messaging us or commenting on Blue Sky X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok threads, and you can email us at methewife@wrexhamafc@gmail.com.
And also, if you listen to us as a podcast and don't watch on YouTube, at the bottom of the description, you can message the show there. We did have one last week, and I did read it. I forgot about it, and then it disappeared. So I was going to mention their name. So if that was you who messaged, I will find where it disappeared to, and then I will mention you on next week's show.
So a roundup of Saturday games. So Birmingham beat Rotherham 2-1.
Forget about them now,
shot,
innit?
Yeah, Wickham drew 1-1 with Cambridge. Huddersfield lost 3-2 away at Northampton. Stockport beat Leighton Orient 1-0. We stayed in third. 8 points behind Birmingham. And Ryan's put in brackets, forget about them now. I've always said we'll just leave Birmingham. They're going up. End of story.
Yeah, they're 8 points ahead of us.
Yeah.
They've got 2 games in hand.
Yeah. I can't see them.
I might even just stop putting their results on here.
Sorry, Birmingham.
Yeah.
But well done. 5 behind Wickham and 5 ahead of Stockport. We're 11 points inside the playoffs, so... Don't like playoffs.
Yeah, I know. Look, quick one about Port Vale.
It's on Tuesday. It's at Vale Park. There you go. 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock kickoff. Not 7:45, not 8 p.m, not 7:30. It's at 7. It's the early one. As Siân said, it is at Vale Park. It is the third round of the FA Trophy. The winners of this game go on to play Bolton in the quarterfinals. The original game was due to take place on the 7th of January, but was postponed due to bad weather. They play in white. They're 6th in League Two, doing pretty well. They've won 13, drawn 9 and lost 6. They beat Accrington 2-1 on Saturday, and they're unbeaten in their last 5. That's 1-3 and drawn 2. Prediction?
3-1.
Do you know what? I just thought 3-1.
I don't even care.
I'm going to go 2-0 Wrexham.
I haven't even got him in here.
Okay. I'll move on. I'll do Dragon Chat while you do the admin. Okay?
All right.
Look, Dragon Chat is a mental health peer support group. They run 2 weekly Zoom calls. One is on a Monday at 8 p.m, and that is for women. The other is on Thursday at 7 p.m. That's for men. The best way to find it is go to the Wrexham AFC website, choose the community tab, and go into health, and you'll find Dragon Chat in there. It's also all the details of how to get on the calls are down in the description of this video, or you can follow them on socials. On X, they are at Dragon Chat WXMFC, and on Blue Sky, they are at dragonchat.bsky.social.
What score are you going for?
2-0, darling.
Thank you.
No problem. Right, are you ready for a bit of quiz action? Oh, bong.
Yes.
Okay.
It's very warm in this room.
It is warm, isn't it?
I didn't think about the attire. I'm
Yes.
absolutely boiling. Anyway.
Siân's got... We've both got thermal trousers on. Question 1. Mm-hmm. We signed Sam Smith last week. Sing any... No, I'm joking. But what is Samuel's middle name? Is it Thomas, Timothy, Toby, or Taylor?
Toby.
It is Toby. Well done. I knew you'd get that because...
sorry. Sorry, guys. I've got to pause before I give the answer. Sorry.
Just to give everyone a chance to play on.
I get so excited that I know the answer. I just go into it. Sorry, I will...
Question 2. New signing Jay Rodriguez played over 300 games for Burnley, but which current Wrexham player did he play with for a season at West Brom? I can tell you know that. You don't have to pause and stare off into the thing.
James McLean.
It is James McLean. Well done. Number 3. Dan Kemp scored against us for the 4th time in 18 months for his 3rd different club, Stevenage. Who are the other 2 clubs he scored against us for?
MK Dons.
Correct.
Swindon.
Correct. We're doing well. On Saturday, Crawley striker Tyrese John Jules played an hour. His uncle was a main character in 74 episodes of which famous British sitcom? I told you about it. Well, I knew we talked about it. Yeah.
Red Dwarf.
It is Red Dwarf.
How do you say it?
Dwarf.
Dwarf. Whatever.
You add like an extra letter. Dwarf.
Yeah, I get that off my mum.
Question 5. Oh, are you nervous? This is for 5 out of 5.
I am a little bit nervous.
A little bit nervous.
What do I get if I would get 5 out of 5?
A high 5? Yeah. We'll sort you something.
Okay.
All right then.
See.
Number 5. Mm-hmm. We play. This is hard. We played Port Vale on Tuesday night. The last time we faced them, the game ended 1-1, and then we lost 3-1 on penalties. 3 of our players missed a penalty in the shootout. You get 3 guesses, and you have to name one of the players who missed a penalty in that shootout. I think that's pretty fair.
It is, and I can picture it now. And I was just like, oh my God.
It's not like I've gone, you've got to get all 3. I've give you 3 guesses, and you just have to get one.
I don't think he played in it.
That's the tricky bit, isn't it?
Because it's like a cup game, isn't it? So
yeah.
People, don't care. Oh, Christ.
You get 3 guesses. So,
oh dear. Okay,
yeah.
Elliot Lee.
Incorrect. Don't think he played.
No, probably not.
I think... No, I'm not going to help.
Why?
I think you think... maybe.
Tinkin?
I think maybe sort of think a bit more fringe player. There's a couple of fringes, and there's one...
Brian Barnett.
He's not a fringe player.
What do you mean a fringe player? Oh, not one that plays on the fringe. To people that don't play.
What's playing on the fringe? Do you mean on the edge? No. I mean he's on... I mean, he's on, like, they're on the edge of the squad, looking in, sort of thing. They don't really play all the time. That's
Anthony
a fringe.
Ford.
Yes, Anthony Ford. Well done. I feel like you helped slightly.
No, you didn't.
Didn't I?
No,
So that didn't help.
No, he's just named.
So your guesses of Elliot Lee and Ryan Barnett,
just
and then I
fillers.
help, and then you get it right.
They were just fillers, and I was giving people time to answer the question.
Fair play to
Yeah.
you. Fair play.
5 out of 5.
Well done.
Banging.
Look, we obviously only have one game this week, which is Port Vale in the Cup. For anybody who doesn't know, our game with Leyton Orient next weekend has been postponed.
It's now on the 4. No, it's not.
I don't know when it is.
I can't remember.
So the reason it's been postponed is Leyton Orient are playing Man City in the FA Cup.
They'll be out. It's fine. They'll be out.
So yeah, that'll be played at another time. So our next league game is way off in the future.
Northampton on the 15th of Feb.
And that'll be away from home.
2 weeks.
We will talk about that next week.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.
Have a good week.
Bye-bye.